Albert.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Come on in. I'm glad you found it. Was it okay? Or,
Excuse me. Yes, okay.
Yeah.
I confused in the room.
but I think your wife works right here.
Oh, okay.
I'll show you her offer. Pretty sure. Is that her? No?
No.
No?
Okay.
This is Dr. Jha's lab.
No.
Anyways, so maybe she's not here. Anyways.
My wife is PhD student
Yeah.
of this lab.
Yes, so
Yes.
whether or not she's here today or not, I don't
Yes.
know, but this is where she goes.
Mhm.
And we are right here, so it would be very convenient. Anyways. Okay. So you can come and sit in my office if that's all right with you.
Thank you.
You can sit here.
Please.
So I see actually that you previously contacted me.
Okay.
But to be honest, and I did look at your CV. The problem is we're in a state of needing to hire people like quickly. So we've been experiencing difficulties bringing people into Canada. So the way you had worded it and your CV, it looked like you were still in Iran in April, and it was just everyone was just like, okay, for now, let's just. If it's a rapid hire, that's going to be too difficult. But now that you're here, so that's just to explain to you,
Yeah, okay, understand.
we're not supposed to do that because that's like discrimination. But that's not what I was doing. It's the pandemic.
Yes, of
And people are having trouble getting the visas. You know, it's hard enough to begin with, but that doesn't usually stop anybody from bringing people internationally. Yeah, so we bring people internationally all the time, right? I have a Saudi student, I have had people from Bangladesh, so, but it's just because right now it has been very difficult. The borders were closed, and so it made it very hard to apply outside of Canada. However, the situation changed, in my view, because of our rapid need. So that's why when Dr. Jha, whose office is there, sent me your thing this past week. So just to kind of give you that backstory.
It's my opportunity.
Yes, right? Clear the air. And so, okay, so welcome.
Thank you so much.
Why don't you just tell me a little bit about you? I will turn off the sound of my email, which will drive everyone crazy because it pings. And I have your CV here. So you finished your master's about 4 years ago?
Yes, after that I started collaboration with my professor in Pasteur Institute on same project like my project. We produced some SCFEs, agonistic SCFE against PD-1 and PD-L1.
Yes, yes.
Yes,
Awesome.
and my paper is under review,
Yeah.
probably published in the near.
Okay, so in that time frame, from just to kind of get an idea, so you just basically chose to work as a technician
Yes.
in that time frame rather than do a
Yes,
PhD because maybe you guys were gonna
Yes, of course.
move or whatever, and so on, right?
Because I wanted to master my skills and also have a job experience
Okay.
in laboratory.
And ultimately to decide do I want to do a PhD? What do I want to do? I don't know what people's lots of it's not uncommon to do to have a master's and then to work and then to go back to education or whatever.
Honestly, I got acceptance from Queensland, Australia, for PhD, but my wife preferred to move in Canada because he got acceptance from Dr. Jha lab.
Okay,
So
that's fair.
we are
Both great opportunities, right? As far as research is concerned. So and so that's great. And so you did, and that's cool because we've done in our mouse model of liver disease, we have done at least one protocol where we gave the mice tumor, like an ectopic tumor injection into their leg or something. And then we treated them with anti-PD-1 and anti-CTLA4 to see if that could help. It's sort of helped, which is good that it didn't really
Another
help.
truth about me was that I sent you email
Yes.
several times for opportunity, PhD opportunity or lab technician opportunity. I think 6 months later or about that.
Okay. Yeah, so I have like some old emails from you on that. It's just that, and at that time too, we were in the pandemic, so
Yes.
we weren't even allowed to recruit
Understood.
because the labs were closed. My
Hard
people couldn't.
situation.
It was terrible, but now like things are slowly getting better, and so we're starting to consider recruitment again. So, um, so
Great.
you have a lot of skills that are of interest to me, and education that is very relevant and high enough level
Thank
to
you.
make it easier for me to have a conversation with you about what we do. So you've had a chance to read my website.
Yes.
Do you want to
of
kind of
course.
just briefly tell me what you think I do?
No, I actually I read some papers that you published before that, and also I checked CoronaNet website.
Yes, Covarnet, yeah, perfect.
Biobanking, and but I got some summary about biobanking on this website.
Yes.
And also I checked your student project, PhD student and master student.
Yes.
And the other biography and review of your research and your project.
Okay, so you're familiar with it, and
yes, of course.
So that's good. And so you know, basically, I have two things happening at the same time, which is very crazy right now. But normally, I just have my liver disease research, right? So I study chronic disease, you know, how chronic liver disease, mainly I started in hepatitis C, so most of my research has been done in that field, but I'm not restricted to it. So I'm branching out into non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which is on the rise. And hepatitis C is being cured, right? And hopefully we can get a vaccine in the next few years. So we've looked at like our main area of focus was CD8 biology, and we saw hyperfunction in general CD8s, so like not virus specific. Okay, so we just like work with the blood, and we don't stimulate with peptide or anything, just CD328 stimulation in culture. So we do a lot of blood work, tons of work from blood, cell culture, CD8 T cell isolations, and so on. And then largely we do lots of flow cytometry, using either just a few colors, but now we're up to like, you know, about 14.
Interesting for me.
Yeah.
Lots of flow cytometry in your paper. This.
And even that's not a lot. So now with what COVID has permitted us to do with additional money, we've been able to increase our panel size to measure like 14 different colors, and same in the mouse model. We also scaled up what used to be 4 or 5 colors to now 13 colors, and we had collaborators that could help us like make that transition to more complicated flow cytometry, and so now I would say we do that very well. So most of our human T cell work is going to be all scaled up to multicolor, like 14 colors of. So hopefully, now you've had some experience with FlowJo analysis, like also like the culture, the staining, and the.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
And CFSC staining or intracellular or extracellular staining, and also I have experience in the medical laboratory flow cytometry for diagnosis. Diagnosis of some cancers or flow or for some HIV patients.
And how many colors did they do for those usually? Or
8 or 6 colors because of my machine.
Yes.
Because
you're limited by the machine.
Has a 4 channel.
Yeah, so this you'll have fun with because we have lots of good colors, and we have a machine here on the 5th floor that does lots of colors, and a similar machine in the university, so we can walk to it, make 5-10 minutes into RGN campus, and that's the one we use a lot as well. So they both have very similar capacities, and as people get more funds, more fancy machines are coming. To the 3rd floor in the cancer center, they're going to get a super sweet one that has like 20 something colors, and it's going to be crazy, and everyone's going to want to use it. So we have like the technology to do everything. We also have CyTOF, which is like what the heck is it? It's not fluorochromes. It's uses like metal ions on the antibodies instead. super expensive. But
like blood staining.
yeah, it's blood for cells.
Blood
Yeah.
staining,
It's called Cytof. Cytof. Not very many people use it because it's stupidly expensive. But it can measure like up to 50 different things using metal ions. But that's just buying the antibodies with the little metal ion on it is very expensive. But I have a collaborative clinician who she has some funds for that, and she somehow decided that that's the technique she wants to use. I think it's a complete waste of money, but that's my scientifically, but that's what she wants to do. And so our lab will do that. We will stain them and go to the Cytof reader here and see what we get. Okay, so yeah, mostly what we're doing is we're looking at CD8 hyperfunction, and we're doing a lot of mechanistic studies in our liver disease patients. Samples. I have a little mini biobank for that as well. So that's where my biobanking sort of history started, is in my liver disease research. So I have a small biobank of Hep C patients, fatty liver, and a bunch of controls for cells and plasma. So technically people across Canada could apply to my biobank and take some samples if they wanted, but I haven't had to share too much. I share with another scientist here, Dr. Lee. So a lot of work is happening in that area in my lab. So I have like my new PhD student, he just transferred through an exam. He was a master's student for 2 years, and then he passed an exam on Monday. So that's Jeff. So now he's in the PhD stream. So he'll be here for at least another 3 years working on the mechanisms of CD8 dysfunction, and he's looking at RNA sequencing and epigenetics and all this kind of fancy stuff to work out mechanistically why CD8s are being hyperfunctional in liver disease. He has some dreams to do some mouse work as well in there, but his project is way too big, so we're trying to like cut it. Related to that is the development of a mouse model of liver disease, which we've worked on for about 3 years now with Michele Ardolino downstairs, who does NK cell work in cancer. And so the student on that project has just submitted her thesis for her master's this week. So she's done, Jude, and so she'll have to do her defense eventually in a couple of months, I guess, and then she will move back to Saudi. But in that model, we can give them liver fibrosis.